Welcome to Eve Innovation Could Talk, Aymeric.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Eva. Nice to meet you.
Pleasure. I've been really looking forward to having this chat with you because I've always wanted to know more about your work in global reforestation. Now, no
Mhm.
doubt this is a very important concern to all of us, environmental sustainability. But when I think about what happened in Australia last year, between September 19 and February 2020, the bushfire crisis meant that almost half the population was affected by the smoke. We had, 434 million tons of carbon dioxide emitted because 12.6 million hectares of land was burned. Please tell us about the work that you do in reforestation and what does innovation mean to you?
Sure. So you're right in saying that every day there is 150 million tons of man-made heat-trapping global warming pollution into the atmosphere, as if it was an open sewer, and that's really the problem. So when it comes to trees, planting billions of trees across the world is one of the biggest and cheapest ways of taking CO2 out of the atmosphere to tackle our climate crisis. Unfortunately, we're also cutting down forests at the rate of about 1 football field per second. So what we're doing at Lord of the Trees with our drone technologies, we're trying to curb our emissions faster by planting more trees and drive our emissions below the Paris Pledge made by most countries.
So, what happens after the seeds are planted? What does the final product look like?
Our proprietary technology, which is the precision planters that we attach under the drones, combined with seed pods. And so the seed pods that we make as well look like a little marble, which is less than a centimeter in diameter. And inside that seed pod, you have seeds that are coated in a little gel in a formula that we create ourselves, which has all the nutrients necessary for that seed to pre-germinate. And it's almost like a boost of energy and food at the time that it germinates when it's dropped into the landscape.
You are pursuing such important work, but in this day and age when people are always looking for that fast satisfaction, that quick return, your process is actually a very long one. What keeps you going?
There is a saying that says the best time to plant trees is 20 years ago or today. And I think that's really what keeps me going, is to know I've been planting things in the ground since I was a kid. Um, the family that I grew in Europe, back in France, has trees that are now so big, like bigger than our house, that I remember planting when I was a kid, when I was a little kid. And I think that what keeps me going is to know that I'm doing this probably not just for myself, but for, the next generation. And yeah, it's a beautiful legacy. I hope, while I feel that deep in my heart, I think it's a beautiful legacy to leave behind.
It is, absolutely. In fact, I don't know whether you've heard this Chinese proverb that says the forefathers plant the trees and the future generation benefits from the shade. And that's exactly what you are doing, and more, in
Mm.
fact, given the current climate crisis. So, just one last question, Emmerich. What can we as individuals do to make the planet a healthier place?
Uh, there are so many things. This is the beauty with your question and its answer at the same time. It's we don't need to go to school to have a degree to make a difference. At the end of the day, we have to remember this is our planet. It's not saying, oh, I don't live here, so I'm not going to pick up that piece of paper that I found on the ground or that piece of plastic. It's you and I, we live, it's our home. Our home is this planet. And there is no limit and there's no boundaries. So I've got two beautiful, a little niece and a nephew that are back in France. And every time I see them, we go out on long walks. And one beautiful thing with them is I taught them how to pick up things in the, when we go out for walks. And at the beginning, it was really interesting to see them say, "Oh, I don't want to touch that. It's not mine," or we don't live here. And as soon as I explained to them, we all live on this planet, and if you don't take it, nobody will. And then what do you think is going to happen with that plastic bottle? Like tomorrow, 2 days after, it's going to rain. What do you think is going to happen? And then I started to make them think about the journey of this, plastic bottle ending that would ultimately end up in the ocean. And then what happens when it ends up in the ocean? And then there was this whole conversation that we had about, marine pollution and fish and whales. And as soon as it made sense, I remember seeing the light. It was almost like a little light bulb, in the head.
Absolutely. Whilst we can't all get involved in, the scale of the work like you do, we can still play our little part. So thank you so much for sharing those insights with us, and let's all work together to make the planet a healthier place. Thank you,
My pleasure.
Aymeric.
Thank you.